SayItInACard.com is an online greeting card company that delivers right to your front door. Visit our website, www.sayItInACard.com. You can read the cards, order the cards, and we ship them directly to you. If you feel it, we say it in a card. We have breakup cards, troubled relationship cards, troubled friendship cards, and of course all of the traditional cards as well, from birthday to Mother's Day. So again, visit us at www.sayItInACard.com. Free shipping for a limited time. I was involved briefly with a married man who believed he had the courage to leave his wife to be with me and to live his truth. This isn't the typical story of a married man promising to leave his wife for a secret lover. Rather, this is a story in part about a gay man who knew he was gay before he got married, but chose to marry a woman because he didn't know how to break free. Rocky and I met on a gay social media site 3 months after I returned to the East Coast to live, and just 11 months after he was married. At the time we met, he was living and working in Dubai as a contractor for the government on a military base, while his wife was stationed in Tallahassee, Florida, where they had a home. In one of the first messages he sent me, Rocky shared that he was married, but that he had regrets. He explained that he had come out to his mother and siblings when he was 18 years old. He sat there. To listen to more of One Thing for Certain, Two Things for Sure, a memoir continued, visit audible.com. One of the best parts of life is when you can admit the truth to yourself about yourself. Cyberspace is a world where one can become something he isn't, but everything he dares to be. I wasn't interested in getting attached to anyone, and I knew I wouldn't take anyone I met online seriously. I had multiple screen names to increase my chances of meeting someone attractive. The majority of the profiles noted HIV negative under status, but I knew better from the work I had done in the HIV community. I knew 1 out of 3 black gay men was positive. The messages I found in my inbox validated me in my depression. In some strange way, they reinforced that I was worthy and deserving. My days consisted of waking up and logging on to see how many messages had accrued overnight. Months passed before I got honest with my therapist about what was happening with me. And before I knew it, I heard myself say, I've been having sex with people I meet online. To listen to more of Words Never Spoken in Memoir, visit audible.com. Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and I'm inviting you to join my Patreon. Don't know what a Patreon is? It's my official video diary with only exclusive content that you won't see anyplace else. It's easy to join. Just visit patreon.com/Craig the Writer Stewart. Here's what you'll find on my Patreon. A day in my life, whether that's dinner with friends or a typical workday. Live Q&As with members of my Patreon about each episode of the T.S. Madison Experience and what I was really thinking. I'll even bring you on vacation with me. The video will make you think that you were right there. And last but not least, for all of my aspiring writers, I give you first-hand, one-on-one, personalized attention, answering all of your questions about publishing and self-publishing. So what are you waiting for? Join now. Swipe up or visit www.patreon.com/Craig the Writer Stewart. I'll see you soon. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Craig the Writer. Do it now. Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say YouTube TV. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. So Much to Say YouTube TV is the place that you come to learn and grow, because we discuss socially relevant things mixed with a splash of humor. If you know you have tissue paper feelings, this probably isn't the channel for you. However, since you're here, I just need for you to do 2 things. Hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and turn on that little bell so that you get the notification every single time that I go live or upload something new. I'll see you soon. Bye. No. I mean, yeah, I sent you the confirmation and stuff. Yeah, I believe I did. Yeah. Your shuttle? Oh.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressors, and dreamers. I'm Carlton Lee.
Oh, so she's just gonna say that the bag is clean?
And these are my thoughts on gay shit. Oh, sorry. Black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between.
Well, y'all had to walk from the gate?
He's on his phone. His mama just landed.
Why y'all couldn't wait? I don't understand. Oh. So is the shuttle there to get to the...
I know this is a little bit ghetto, just a little bit.
Okay. Well, I mean, the reservation is in her name. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you can start with that confirmation number and just, just tell them, right, and see what they'll say. Y'all should have just let me pick y'all up and did this rental car mess tomorrow.
You might as well put him on the speaker down.
All right, well, just call me back if you have a problem with that. Okay. You see where to get on the shuttle?
I would talk to y'all, but I'm eating these fries that are so good.
Right, but this is why I was asking you guys also if you wanted me to just order you groceries so you'd have the groceries at the... I was trying to simplify all of this, but... Right. 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 Okay, well, just call me if you have a problem. Okay. Right. I sent a text. I sent you my address in the text. I sent you that earlier. I sent you the text, the gate code, my address. Yes, all of that is in that text. I ain't saying that. I just said it's in the text.
I would have logged out.
All right. Bye. Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressors, and dreamers. Let me tell you something. Communication is our partner. Clarity is our friend. Listen, good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressors, and dreamers. I'm Curtis Stewart.
I already did the intro.
And this is the Facebook and YouTube live versions. You didn't say that part.
They know what this shit is.
I have so much to say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. So my mom and her girlfriend just landed in Atlanta. And so now I'm going to get into this Niecy Nash thing in a second, but I just need to go ahead and tell y'all this because the phone rang as soon as the last commercial ended. And for those of you that were talking about the commercials, you could have been hitting the like and subscribe button while you were talking about all of that, about the length of the commercials and this, that, and the third. But at any rate, I sent my mom's girlfriend, because see, my mom doesn't carry her cell phone. She leaves the house without the cell phone. So her girlfriend, Juliet, has her cell phone. Earlier today, before they even left Baltimore, I sent my mom's girlfriend my address in a text, along with the gate code to get through the gate, the code to get into the building. And then I also told her how to get into the house, because I have a punch code to get in my actual unit. And she just said, well, I need you to send me my address. I'm like, girl, I sent this stuff at 2:00. I sent it already. Like, I'm such a preparer. Like I try to think ahead for people. So I try to prepare people and I try to think ahead for people. And so it really agitates me when people don't pay attention because I try to be as salient as possible. But nevertheless, some people miss the boat. And that's why we have people seated in the GED section. We have people in the baby nurses section. We have people in the graduate program. But at any rate, I wanted to talk to you guys about this Niecy Nash Red Table Talk conversation. Hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Now, I will say that the conversation was really, really, really good. I thought it was a great conversation. I thought Niecy Nash was very forthcoming. I'll get to the negatives, not the negatives, but the things that where my critical eye kind of. But I thought she was very, very forthcoming. I love her personality. She is just so personable. She's funny. She's such a thinker, and she's thoughtful with her words, right? And so when she sat down and started telling the story, and either Jada or her mom asked Niecy if she had ever dated a woman before, she said, She just kind of said, She wasn't as direct as she was with the rest of her conversation. She was just kind of like, And she also said that she had never had a girlfriend, that the woman that she's married to now was her first and only girlfriend. And that's where I think it gets a little dicey. Because just like the promo that I ran for my second book where Rocky was in a marriage with a woman because he didn't know how to break free, that doesn't just apply to men. There are a lot of women. There are a lot of women who struggle with living their truth as well. And I honestly think that she has come full circle. I think she's in a space now where she's ready to live her truth. But I told you guys before, I don't know how long, well, when she first came out, she didn't call it coming out though on Red Table Talk. She basically said, now that she's free. I said to you guys back then when they first got married that one of you, and I'm not going to say your name, grew up with Niecy Nash. I got the DM messages and everything. And basically one of you said to me that your current girlfriend, it's a woman emailed me and said that her current girlfriend was Niecy Nash's first girlfriend when they went to high school together. And
when did they have sex?
Well, she didn't go into whether or not they had sex. But what she did say was Niecy Nash's mom was not for that shit. And so she basically was trying to please her mom, and just like any gay boy would do, you know what I'm saying? And so I've read I read it on here before, in fact. And so I think that she was very forthcoming with the exception of that. I think that she has had girlfriends before because I don't see any reason why one of you would have emailed me to say that your current girlfriend was actually her first girlfriend. And, I don't think that somebody would just volunteer a lie like that.
Right.
But, and again, just like boys or men suppress their feelings or whatever, so do women. And I do think that maybe she never had, get off of that. I do think that, same thing like with Whitney Houston. Yes, Elle Ackland. Just like with Whitney Houston, I do think that there are people who may go through the majority of their life. Look at Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner. I do think that people sometimes go through a good portion of their life before they actually fully live their truth. You know what I'm saying? Now, for me, I was 22. And I think I was a late bloomer. I think that was late.
Right. Now, it also contributes to being a generational thing.
It's a generational thing because Niecy is in her 50s. I'm 40. So, I mean, look, it took her longer. And you came out you told your mom in high school. He told his mom in high school. So would you cut it out? Always got to be cutting up when I get on here. Oh, that carrying on. Sit down. Sit. 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 And then just recalcitrant.
Hey, buddy. He just wants attention, that's all. He's been at home all day.
You know, we not white people. We don't do all that licking in the face and stuff. But anyway, but I just think that it's a thing where I do agree with her when she said this particular woman is the first woman that she had that attraction strong enough to really like go all the way with in terms of like being in a full-on relationship, an adult relationship. Because I mean, I know women who waited until they were well into their adult life, and then they found this one particular woman
who's worth coming out for.
And it was just a really good conversation. So if you haven't watched it, I would suggest you go and watch it. It was only like 27 minutes or something like that. It's not very long, but it's a good conversation, and it really does open up this conversation about sexuality in general. Because oftentimes when we think, and I'm not touching my face because I just touched copper. I know y'all looking, maybe on top of stuff like that. But I know sometimes people think that men are the only ones that suppress these feelings and will, you know, move through life. And then all of a sudden they'll have a wife and children, and then they sneak in on the side. And she did clear that up. She said that she and her current wife did not meet while she was on the set of Claws. They met in 2015. She also said that she did not cheat on her second husband. She made that very clear. She said, and in my 10-year marriage, she said, my second husband, she said, I can tell you, I absolutely did not cheat in that marriage. So the way that she said it was almost, the way she underscored it, it was almost as if she cheated in a previous marriage. But I really do think that, I do think that she had a girlfriend before. I will tell you that. I definitely think that she had a girlfriend before, and maybe she just wasn't ready to say that. I don't know. But it was interesting when she talked about what her mom thought. Once she came out. She said, well, what does your mom think about this? She said, oh, my mom wasn't going for it. But she said, because
where is she from?
Niecy Nash is from, where's my phone? Is she from California? I think she's from California. Is Niecy Nash from California? I think she's from California. Yes, and Niecy Nash's first marriage was to a pastor. So she was married to a pastor. Niecy Nash, originally from, yeah, she was born in Palmdale, California. But her first husband was a pastor. And you know, she said you know, it was something about this woman's soul. It was something about her energy that drew her to this particular woman. And she said her mom was, you know, is going to work through it and try to, you know, be okay and accept their relationship. But she said she loves me enough that I know she's going to work through it. But then she talked in the conversation about me taking her wife to meet her grandmother in St. Louis. And the grandmother fell in love with her wife, and then called her mom. Niecy Nash's grandmother called her mom, her daughter, and said, let them children be. Let them love each other and, you know, just get out of the way. And that reminded me of a conversation that my maternal grandmother had with my mother. Because my mom, even though my mom said she always knew, and but there's something about the reality of it when you actually tell your parent how you feel, or, you know, what's going on. Sometimes it's hard for them to digest. And so my mom was kind of, you know, wrestling with that or whatever. And then she talked
to like grandmothers kind of get it.
Yeah.
Before the parents do something. It's interesting.
And then my mom said she called my grandmother, her mother, and talked to her about it. And my grandmother said to her, well, he's still my grandson and I'm going to love him anyway. She said, aren't you? You know, she kind of threw it back on her. But but yeah, so I mean, it was a really good conversation. But here's the other thing that I found interesting in that conversation too. Jada Pinkett asked Niecy if when she asked her if she had ever been with a woman before. Niecy said no, and Jada said neither have I. And but I've actually kind of like, she didn't say ogled over a woman before, but she said she's had like girl crushes, or I can't remember how she exactly said it. But she basically said that she had girl crushes before. But here's the thing. I'm from Baltimore. Jada's from Baltimore. We grew up around the corner from each other. And I did not know Jada, but I know two of her neighbors. And one is probably my mom's age, and another one is around my age. And they both have said that Jada has dated women before. So, I mean, I just thought it was interesting that, and again, maybe because Jada's mother, Gammy, was sitting there.
Maybe in their mind, being with a woman
doesn't qualify as maybe have
like it could be like a friend, a close friendship, but maybe it was never sexual. So in their mind, it's not a full-on relationship.
Or maybe they just had experiences and it wasn't a relationship, and so they don't really count that. Because here's the thing, a lot of women who are straight have had experiences. I know some of you are in here. I know some of you are heterosexual and have swam in the lady pond before. A lot of women will dibble and dabble in college.
Swam in the lady pond?
I mean, I used to play in it and stuff.
You just tap the water.
Yeah, I used to.
You just ripple the water.
I used to kind of, it was this one little fast girl down the street from me, and she used to come to her front door, and she would open the door, and we would kind of play in her coochie.
Everybody?
It was me and a couple. We would we kind of pull our shorts to the side, and we would kind of.
She was a little fast.
She was fast.
How old was she?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember how old we were, but we were young, and her parents weren't at the house, and
I had a girl in it was the first or second grade that liked to be fingered.
Well, yeah, exactly.
She would her and this one girl. Her name was Gabrielle, and his name was Roman.
Did you have to say this all on here? Their names?
They don't follow this.
You never know. Gabrielle's family looking at this, but
they would sit in the same desks in science class every day, and I'm like, why are they all? And they would always rush to get these two seats.
Oh, because they were over there fingering Gabrielle.
And so one day I dropped my pencil, and I'm gonna go pick it up, and I'm gonna go pick it up. And I happened to just like look, and I was like, well, "What's his hand doing down there?"
Amelia Bedelia.
It's first grade. Who learns that in first grade? Did y'all learn that shit?
They obviously sent.
These are white folks. They learned a little earlier, I think.
Well, there was a little. Speaking of white folks, there was a little white girl. Her name was Jamie Ford. When I was in elementary school.
See, look, somebody got theirs under the lunch table.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you, there was a little white girl named Jamie Ford. And look, you just said Carlton at least didn't get the last name. I didn't gave this girl's whole name. Her name was Jamie Ford, and she used to do it to the chair.
Let me tell you, if I find out my daughter's getting fingered in the first grade.
Oh, she getting homeschooled.
Listen here,
her ass getting homeschooled. But she used to do it to the chair, and I'm gonna show you how she used to do. She used to sit on the chair, and she would do like this, and she would be doing like this, and then like she would wear like these little.
Pretty good at doing that.
And she would wear these little short shorts, right? Let me pull the camera down. She would wear it. Can y'all see? She would pull these little short shorts, and she would pull her shorts over to the side so you can see her little coochie lips.
Hairless.
Well, it had a little fuzz on it.
Oh, so it was old enough to have fuzz.
Yeah, at that point. But let me tell you, the girl that was down the street from me, where we used to finger her, so we would finger her, and then we would smell. We would smell our finger. Now, I say all of that to say, just because I had those experiences, I don't count those as relationships with girls. So the same is true, just like with Jada. And like I said, this is what I've heard secondhand from two different people who were neighbors of mine. They all said that Jada had experiences with girls. She had this little phase in her life where she was dating girls. But like you said, she may not count those as relationships just because she had sexual encounters. But she never said, that she had been with a woman before or anything like that. But the same is true with Niecy Nash. I think that she definitely had some, experiences. Feelings at some point, and she probably just suppressed them and just, and then this woman she met. Okay, because case in point. So those of you that I have a sister and I have a brother, right? Well, my sister and brother have the same dad. They have a sister on their dad's side. Mm-hmm. She's gay. Mm-hmm. She and I talk more than I talk to my brother, our brother and sister, right? So Kenyatta, that's her name. She's gay. She was married, but she's married now to a woman. But before this woman, she was married to another woman. And the woman that she was married to had never been with a woman before. She had children. She had teenage children. By the time she and Kenyatta got together, she had teenage children or almost teenage children. And, well, no, they were teenagers.
And was it due to suppression?
Well, her marriage ended with their father. She and Kenyatta worked together. They worked together. She was Kenyatta's boss. And what happened was she started flirting with Kenyatta. And I used to tell Kenyatta, you better leave that lady alone. I said, first of all, she's your boss, so I wouldn't be fraternizing with her at work. That's one. And then two, she had never been with a woman before. And I was like, she's just going to be a fling. Like, you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Because my thing is, one of my rules is, like when I first started dating guys and I started getting acclimated to it and all that stuff, I never dated a guy that just moved to Atlanta. Yeah, Marie, you met her at my dinner. You and Tiffany Smith Bell and Alicia, you met Kenyatta and her current wife at my surprise birthday dinner a couple years ago in Baltimore. But when I first moved to Atlanta, I would have never dated a guy who had just moved to it. If you were living in Atlanta for less than a year, I wouldn't fool with you. Because I felt like you needed to kind of like date around and see what was out there and, get your knees skinned up a little bit. Do all the fucking.
That's all I get.
Go ahead and get your STDs and get those cured before you come see me.
Not all can be cured.
Not all can be cured, but we would discuss that before. And and the other thing was I would never date anybody. That doesn't mean I wouldn't fuck you, but I would never date anybody that.
I have this thing stuck in my teeth and I cannot get it. I'm trying to be real polite.
The other thing is I would never date someone. I would never date a guy that had never dated a guy before and never had a relationship before. I just wouldn't do that. So when Kenyatta was working with her former wife, I kept telling her, you better leave that lady alone. Don't fool with her. She's just too new. She probably just wanted an experience. Well, Kenyatta didn't pay me any attention. And she ended up getting with Denise. Oh, I didn't mean to say her name. They're not together no more.
Yes, you did.
Did you hear what I said? What was I going to say her name was?
Donetta?
No, that ain't it. No, that ain't it. Good. So you didn't hear it. So
they heard it. What was her name, y'all?
What y'all think I was going to say her name was? I hope that I didn't mean to say it. But anyway, that's why I kept trying to get through the story. But at any rate, they ended up getting married, and she and the girl got married, and they were together for years. They were together for years, right? And they ended up getting together for years. They were married for years, and then when I say years, I want to say at least a decade. It may have been longer than that. And then
you try to stop them.
But the point of me bringing that up was her former wife said she had never had an attraction to a woman before. It was Kenyatta. Kenyatta was the only, and this is the thing that's so interesting. Kenyatta looks like Niecy Nash's wife. Did you see Niecy Nash's wife? Let me show you Kenyatta. And so,
because she's stud.
Because she's a stud. Well, that helps, but that ain't it. Tell me she don't look like Niecy Nash's wife. With a hat on. If she had a hat on.
It's because she has short hair.
Well, at any rate, Kenyatta's former wife said, thank you. Tiffany said, yes, she does look like her. Tiffany met her. But what I was going to say was, Kenyatta's former wife said she had never been attracted to a woman, never dated a woman, never been with a woman, never thought about it. But it was something about Kenyatta. She said it was something about her energy. And that was reminiscent of what Niecy Nash was saying in that interview today.
Mm-hmm.
And
this you showed that.
This is Kenyatta.
Oh.
Who?
I thought that was Denise.
Who is Denise?
What everybody said.
This is Kenyatta. That's Kenyatta. So,
can I get in the frame? I feel so weird. My head just showing.
That's Kenyatta.
Scoot over. I'm all off to the side.
But doesn't she look like her? So, yeah, she's been in here before. She's been in the chats before, yes. And so, long story short, when Niecy Nash said that, I thought about what Kenyatta's, ex-wife said. And it's true. Like, sometimes you can be attracted to a particular person, a particular spirit, right? But overall, I'm happy for Niecy Nash. I'm glad she is free now and she's living her truth. She made some really valid points too, that women are conditioned to find a man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That you're conditioned to find a man and that you shouldn't be trying to move through the world without a man, and you're not really complete unless you have a man. And she was saying that when she left her previous marriages, in particular the second one, the family or friends were like, well, what was wrong? He was good to you. Like, why didn't you stay? Like, what was wrong with him? And ultimately she said that she's getting something from this relationship with this woman that she never got from a man before. She feels seen for the first time.
So how you feel with me?
With you, let me before I answer his question, right? We're upstairs in the loft, right? And so the lights were out. And so I said, Alexa, turn on loft light. So she turns on the light. I turn on my ring light so I can set up the live, get on the live. He downstairs, he whispering to Alexa to tell her to turn off the light. So then the damn Alexa turns the damn light off and I'm up here in the dark. And Alexa says, you whispered.
that bitch snitch.
And I said, did you just tell her to turn off the light?
That bitch snitch. Tell her something. You just whispered.
You whispered.
Would you like me to go in whisper mode? Bitch, shut up. God damn.
I said, did you turn? She said, boy, you got my Alexa to going off. Oh my God. I'm up here trying to feel around in the dark because he downstairs whispering.
Oh. Can't get away with shit.
But anyway, here's the thing about you. And I've said this before, like I've said this to, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I've told this to friends, right? Look, Bianca said her Alexa just came on. But I have said before, I've been in love before, but this one feels, and I know people always say, that this is the best one and this, that, and the third, because it's the current one. That's not why I'm saying that. I'm saying it because this is the first time that I've actually felt partnered. I've been in love before, yes. But this is the first time where it feels like all of the pieces fit, like where it feels like a partnership. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the feelings were there, but I've never felt like I moved in sync like this with anybody before. You know what I'm saying? Like there have been people that I've dated that we got along, and all that good stuff. But when I really think back, I don't think I was really friends with anybody that I dated. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever loved somebody, but you weren't friends with them? I've loved people and been in love before, but we weren't friends. They weren't people that I would hang out with. Like every single person, whether it's Salim in the first book, or Farrell in the first book, or Carrington in the first book. I never, those weren't people that I would have hung out with. Like you and I, like we do stuff, we hang out, like all of the.
And let me tell you, to make it worse, usually we spend our nights together, our weekends together. Like, that's not enough. We'll call each other during the day while I'm at work.
He said they're talking to me at work. Look,
and on the way home from work, we'll talk. And then I'll hang up before we end.
That's not always true. We'll be on the phone. He'll be pulling in the driveway. He'll be like, all right, well, I'm in the driveway, so I can get off the phone now. Or I'll say, yesterday, he was driving home. I was here, and we were on the phone. And I said, all right, well, can I get off the phone now? Because I was trying to watch something on TV or something. I said, you on your way here, so can I get off the phone? Remember when they yesterday? I was watching. I said, I'm trying to watch something on TV while I was but seriously, this is the first time that I feel like even if we weren't together, we would still hang out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we would still be friends. And I think part of that is because those of you that know the story, when we first started going out, before we started going out, we were hanging out as friends. We met through Will. And so we were hanging out, all together, like hanging out, drinking, and like at somebody's house or whatever, and just laughing and cutting up. And then it became this, but we just, yeah. But this is the first time it feels like, it just feels like a partnership. And I used to say all the time that I wanted a partner, but I didn't really know how to get to that. I just kept putting that out into the universe. And so again, looking at this whole Niecy Nash thing, I definitely feel like she's in love. I definitely feel like she's in love. Now, whether or not she is completely forthcoming about any previous feelings she's had, or whether or not she's been with a woman before, all of that is beside the point. I think that, she sincerely is.
I would hope, to marry her. So.
Right.
That's a big step for theoretically being with the first woman.
Right. But I think it's important too to not just have things in common. I think that was how I got things wrong early on. Like when I was dating early on, like when I first started dating.
What is going on?
Yeah, go on down there. But when I first started dating, like seriously, I think I got it all wrong. I think I was going after like, oh, well, we have this in common, or, you know what I'm saying? Like we like the same things. It really, for me, I just think that it has to be more than that. I think it has to be a thing of, well, are you really friends? Like, do you think that the relationship can sustain without the attraction part? You know what I'm saying? And that was something else that she said on that Red Table Talk too. She said she was afraid to get into the relationship with the girl. She said because she never doesn't want her. She said, I never want you to not be in my life. Mm-hmm. She said, this person will always be in my life. I want this person to always be in my life. And so, yeah. So now go ahead, your turn.
To do what?
Tell me how I'm different, why I'm better than anybody that came before. I know why I'm better, but I just want to. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But no, I do. But tell me how is it different for you?
Emotionally, it's different. I would say it's emotional. It's not necessarily hard to describe in words, but compared to like my past relationships, I am willing to work harder in this one than I have ever been in any other relationship. Like you kind of said, like I can see well, you didn't say it necessarily, but I can see longevity. I can see a partnership. It's not just about sex or looks or any of that. So I think that's what makes a difference. And in the fact that I do believe I am in love. And so I find that you're worth fighting for. Like, for instance, we got into an argument this past weekend.
What are we arguing about?
It really wasn't necessarily an argument. It was just more so lack of communication over certain situations.
About the gym?
Yeah. And so I'm not going to go into details of the issue, but it kind of blew up by the end of the day.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
And he made a threat, and I came back to him on a threat. Came back, I had a response for him, and 5 minutes later, we resolved it. And we basically said, sometimes you just get on my goddamn nerves, but I still love you. We cuddled, we fucked. So, but it could have seriously it could have went left, and we could have gotten this big argument. He could have went home, this, that, and the third, but we chose to work through it and get over it because I think we knew it was a small situation. And I think that for me, that's big. Said that. For me, it's big because in my past, I would have said, well, shit, fuck this nigga. Goodbye.
So what I was going to say was, these kind of conversations like this is one of those things that I really want, because we've talked about this before, and like we get together with like other couples, like it's like three other couples that we sometimes get together with.
You do, I don't
anymore. We used to get together with these 3 other couples, right? And we kind of talk about different things or whatever, different experiences in the relationships or whatever. Because I personally think that you got to be careful with who you getting around with, like in terms of other couples, because all couples aren't healthy and some of them be dysfunctional. But I think if you can get around like solid couples, I think it's important to kind of be around other couples to do things together, because it kind of reconfirms why you're doing it in the first place, right? And but one of the things that we've talked about before is, I think that in terms of Black gay men, I think that there are more Black gay men that really want to find love, and they really want a solid relationship. They really want a partner, but just don't know how to get to it, don't know how to find it.
They don't have a reference.
They don't have a reference. And so...
And then the reference that they do see are sometimes these stereotypical gays who are trying to look as if they have the world.
Right.
And so all they see is the glitz and the glam of the relationship.
Right.
And so, they try to just strive for that versus trying to actually focus on a relationship and build a foundation for the relationship to work.
Right.
They just want the glitz and glam of it, so they can post on Instagram,
right?
And all this,
right? And put relationship,
have fancy cars,
right? And put relationship goals and all that other foolishness.
Mm-mm.
But one of the things that I was saying to him early on is, when those feelings start to kick in, when you're and anybody can relate to this. You don't have to be gay. When those feelings for that other person really start to kick in, your natural instinct and your previous trauma tells you to run, to leave. And it tells you to run and to leave when it's the smallest little thing. Mm-hmm. It could be a slight little disagreement, because your instincts and your fears are really trying to get you to leave the situation before you get too deep,
right,
emotionally.
Right.
And so like the smallest thing can surface and you ready to run.
It's fight or flight.
Right. And it happened with us. It happened with us early on. And I think I've told you guys before, it was over Copper. And he hit me with some shit about, well, Copper's been here for 4 years and you just got here. So, and then I hit him with, well, you need to decide if you want to be in a relationship with Copper or with me.
Dog owners know.
So, but that could have been a moment where we just decided to run and just leave. But then, you really have to get to, what is it that you really want? Like, do you really want the relationship? Are you using Copper as an excuse, or are you, whatever it is for you in your life, in your world? But so that's one of the things that I really want to do publicly. Like, I want to have one of those kinds of conversations, whether it's a panel discussion, whether it's a Black love kind of type conversation or whatever, because I really do think that there are a lot of couples that might be very early on. They may have just started dating or whatever, and they kind of need some insight, kind of need some direction, because they're at that crossroad where they may want to run, or they trying to decide if they're gonna stay, you know. And so I think about stuff like that. Hold on, this is my mom's friend calling again. But anyway, on that note, I probably need to get off here. Let me make sure they all right. But anyway, listen, if you haven't watched the Niecy Nash
Now,
thing,
you see, they're all on my side when it comes to a dog.
and that's why they probably sitting there single too. You see, he ain't want to be sitting here just with no copper.
Mm, mm, mm.
But anyway, you guys have an amazing night. Brush your teeth, floss your teeth, brush your tongue. If you're on Patreon, I'm going to start recording tomorrow. So I will be dropping some Patreon for you guys tomorrow. All right. So have an amazing night. Thanks for supporting what I do. I appreciate you guys for being here and all of that good stuff.